Okay, what's up, people? So, I decided to start something, and I think this will be really good for me because sometimes I don't have full ideas for videos because I do like to keep my videos, I don't know, I think 8 to 12 minutes is great. I don't like them to be longer or shorter, and so sometimes I have ideas which don't fill up a whole video. So, like today, what I will start doing probably is just putting multiple, bits and pieces that wouldn't make up full videos together in one video. And today, I want to discuss the three topics, which is one, Oda's editors crying, what happened to Kiku, and where is the Wano arc going? First of all, we'll start with Oda's editor. Why did this man cry? Now, first of all, I will say, I've seen a lot of people say it, but I'll say it as well that I don't like these kinds of things. One, because it ruins the moment, It's really nice when something is going to be great, but you just don't expect it. It makes it even greater. But if someone tells you, it kind of ruins the moment a little because you knew. It's like someone telling you there's going to be a plot twist at the end of the story. So now you expect the plot twist. So it's not really as much of a plot twist as it would have been had you not known there would be one. So this is essentially the same thing. It ruins the moment a little bit. It also builds up expectations, which are really bad, I would say, because not everyone enjoys the story in the same way. There's a lot of moments that people have cried at that I haven't cried at in different stories. Moments that maybe I shed a little tear down here and no one else shed a tear. So I think it builds up a false sense of hype. But what could it be? Honestly, what could it be? So I had some ideas. Of course, none of this is actual theory. It's just discussion. It's just me throwing ideas out there. And you guys are listening to see what you guys think. But, of course, the popular theory is that someone dies. Whether it's Momo, whether it's someone who's trying to save Momo, whether it's Kanjuro, which is something we'll get into with the Kiku segment next. But I see a lot of death. Now, I think I agree with what Joyboy said in his video, if you've watched it, that I don't think it necessarily has to be a death. I mean, we've had Oden die, and that hit hard. So for something in the same act to try and top that, I'm gonna need something stronger, So I don't think I don't think it's someone who's gonna die. A thought which I've had, which I haven't seen many people talk about, is the Yamato flashback. We've had a lot of things, and so far, I don't think Yamato's childhood is as sad as other people think it is. I mean, mainly because, Yamato just says that, they wanted to challenge Kaido and Kaido, beat them up. It's like, it doesn't seem as bad as Garp and Luffy. Garp beat up Luffy for doing nothing. So Kaido being Yamato for challenging Kaido, that doesn't seem as bad as being beat up for nothing like Luffy was. So I haven't been as sad, but I'd like to see, maybe we get a bit of the flashback between Ace and Yamato, and we find out how it was a bit sad when Yamato was growing up. That is something which I haven't seen anybody talk about. So it may be a flashback moment involving Kaido, Yamato, and Ace, whichever Ace we want to talk about. That is one thought. Another thought that I had, maybe, the rest of these are not too original, is maybe there is a moment of bravery from Momo. Maybe he says something, which moves people. Maybe there's a line. And I think that, the line which really moves people maybe is from Momo, could be Orochi and seeing a bit of his story as well, or maybe Kanjuro and seeing a bit of Kanjuro. So that's another thing, another flashback where it's Kanjuro who maybe says something, we see a bit of his flashback, and we get a bit more understanding of Kanjuro and where he came from, not from Orochi's perspective like we got, but from Kanjuro's perspective. And maybe we'll all shed a tear from seeing what Kanjuro's life is like in his eyes. So as far as that goes, that's really all I have. Either it's a death like everyone's predicting, or maybe it's like one of those deep lines that, people will be quoting in who knows for how many years in One Piece and in other series. Or it's probably a flashback. Like I said, either with Kanjuro or with Yamato, Kaido, Ace. That's what I have there. I was thinking about this whole Kiku thing. Now, I mentioned this in my video when 985 came out. If you haven't seen that, go and see that. I'll link it right above. But I was thinking that the first thought is that my thinking was not what everyone thought. My thinking was Kiku died. And then I thought that maybe no, Kanjuro died. But then I thought no, nobody died. So people who say Kanjuro died, I don't know how that's your first thought. Because in my head, then why would Kiku be crying? But why? After all the anger, you know, why would Kiku cry? My thought was that it's Kiku who died. Or Kiku who's dying. Which led me to which was my first thought, but which led me to my third thought. So the second thought is that Kanjuro died. But the first one was that Kiku died, and Kiku is crying because after all that's going on, she kind of just failed, you know? Maybe Kanjuro is much stronger than we thought. He's the strongest scabbard back then and now, and he killed Kiku, and now Kiku is crying. That, you know, it's kind of those moments where it's a slow death. Because I could see it in the anime being one of those things where it's like Kaido's speech is going on, and then it's like silently we're seeing these actions of Kiku dying and falling to the ground and all that. And maybe that's why Kiku's crying, because Kiku's the he. Kiku has realized that he failed. He's failed Momonosuke, he's failed Wano. Everything is lost, you know, all hope is lost, especially for Kiku himself. So maybe that's why he's crying. That would make sense, you know, after all the emotions that these guys have suffered, to realize that it was all in vain, it was all for nothing. You know, the tears streaming down, which led me to my third thought, which is that Oda probably won't kill anyone, and it's probably more that, which is what I think now, that Kiku just got stabbed. And so that the sword with the blood, like, they're fighting. Someone's gonna get scars. They're scabbards, they're strong, they're similar level. Someone's gonna get scars. The blood is not as significant, but I think the blood being shown shows that something happened to someone. But I think that what probably happened is that Kiku got stabbed, and it's gonna appear like Kiku maybe is gonna die or is in critical condition, but Kiku's not gonna die, I don't believe so. But I think Kiku might have gotten stabbed. Either that, or it may have been what I've seen otherwise, where people say that Kanjuro, Kanjuro actually just, you know, created an ink drawing of Odin or Momo, and, you know, Kiku had to cut that image down. That makes sense as well for me. We can't tell a lot since it's all in black and white, and, you know, the ink, it confuses things even more. But that being the case there, I think that more than likely that's it. Why there was a sword. The sword as well is really confusing, because Kiku's sword doesn't have the wavy pattern. So is that something that they just added now, or is it always there? Is that someone else's sword? We don't know. Maybe Kanjuro's brush is a sword that's hidden, you know? There's a hidden sword and it has that wavy pattern, but then the direction of the sword is also confusing. So I'm going to leave the kind of sword argument out of this for a moment, because that just confuses things to a whole new level, and just say that, like I said, Kiku got stabbed. Looks like Kiku's going to die, but Kiku won't really die. Okay, so where is the Wano story going from here? Because last chapter made it seem like Wano is just the beginning. And it's a thought. I think I've hinted at it in a few videos, but it's a thought that I've been having since Kaido appeared. That, you know, Kaido's war and the war at the end of the story may be the same war. Which is one thought, so that Wano is not in itself a full arc and maybe a prep for the next arc, like how some people talk about, you know, Amazon Lily being a prep for Impel Down, being a prep for Marineford, you know, and we're in those preparatory stages, and Wano is just one of those arcs that's prepping us. But at the same time, I feel like we've got so much prep for Wano, so it's like something needs to happen in Wano at the very least. So one thought is that Kaido's war that he's been talking about is going to be the final war, and we're just prepping for that. Another thought that I have, but with that thought would mean that they lose here, or possibly that they defeat someone. At least maybe Big Mom goes down in Wano. I don't know. Or maybe Kaido goes down with Big Mom in Wano, and then Big Mom takes, you know, some of Kaido's men and everything, and they go and start this whole war, and it leads into the final saga, arc, whatever you want, of the whole story. Another thought is that we might be going into the Flower Capital, and so this arc of Onigashima might end up as a bust, and either they all get defeated, or maybe they don't all get defeated, but what happens is that, you know, Kaido and Big Mom leave and go to the capital, and then it continues there somehow, which could happen in multiple ways. We're not going to go through dissect all the possible ways this could happen, but it could happen where the battle is continued in the Flower Capital, and, you know, the whole of Wano is involved rather than this secret mission, because that seems like what happens in every arc, where it's like the whole kingdom has to be involved, and it's an effort from everyone, not just a secret group of people. This is the first time where it's been a secret group of people as opposed to the whole kingdom. So that is another thought which follows the storylines that Oda always gives us. And I think that is a pretty solid one. If I think now that I've said it, it's a pretty solid one. Another thought is that we just continue, like the way a lot of us have been thinking, that we're just gonna go. Onigashima is gonna be the end all do all, and that's it. We're just staying in Onigashima, and I think that also seems possible. But I think that the setup with the, you know, ancient weapons and this war has to play a role, you know, even after the Wano arc ends. And someone has to carry on that kind of like plan and that plot. So I don't know. I want to see how this plays out. Although it may be that at the end of this arc, no Yonko goes down, because the Yonko saga arc, if you ask me, has been less about actually defeating the Yonko and more about challenging the Yonko, you know? He's been challenging Big Mom and Kaido this whole Yonko saga arc since New World started. And he's also been, you know, kind of indirectly challenging Shanks and Blackbeard by proving that he can be on their level. So I think it's been more about actually challenging the Yonko than beating the Yonko. That's why I don't have an issue with none of the Yonko actually going down or being defeated. Let me say being defeated themselves. Their crews, their officials, their top commanders, they can be defeated, but the Yonko themselves, I don't necessarily think that they have to be defeated. I think it just depends on, you know, right now where the final arc, where the climax of the story is going, and depending on where that's going, I don't mind either or any option. Really, I really don't mind. It's all in Oda's hands, man. I trust this guy. It's been over 900 chapters. You gotta trust the guy. So that's super exciting. Anyway, guys, these have just been my thoughts. Of course, like we've seen, I mean, we're over 13 minutes now. So, like I said, these individually we're not going to make one video, but I think together it's long enough. But guys, as always, please leave your comments. Tell me your comments. What do you think about any of these three things? Where's the story going? Why did Oda's editor cry? And also, why is Kiku crying? What is that scene about? You know, am I wrong? Am I right? Did I say something you've never heard before? What is it? Tell me down below. Like the video if you like the video. I would not encourage you guys to dislike the video. You can just keep moving to the next one. If you know somebody who needs to hear the truth, share this video with them, guys. And if you got time, watch one more video. If not, thanks for watching this video to the end. This is King KZ, and I'll see you in the next one.